and museum practice. The San Francisco Bay Area is known for its numerous Asian American studies programs. Yet the development of art school curricula in this area has not followed a similar trajectory, despite the increasing enrollment of Asian American students. The California College of the Arts, where I teach, is quite proud of its longstanding undergraduate requirements in diversity courses. But there is little understanding of how the culture of art school itself tends to reproduce the binary logic of Eastern and Western aesthetics, making it difficult for many Asian American students to locate themselves in relation to the often unfamiliar histories and traditions that are projected onto them. Following the legacies of Paul Gauguin, Frank Lloyd Wright, John Cage, Quentin Tarantino, art schools in the US often seek to enhance their art curricula by offering art history and studio courses in the arts of Asia. Faculty and student become well-versed in the meditative profundity of rock gardens and calligraphy, the simple ingenuity of Asian wood joinery and paper making, the unique asymmetry of raku ceramics and Japanese fashion design, and the postmodern eroticism of manga, Buto, anime, and Hong Kong action cinema. This engagement with Eastern aesthetics is seen as a refreshing addition, complement, or counterbalance to Western artistic practices. In my experience of teaching one of the first Asian American visual studies courses at CCA, the classroom became a site for heated discussions regarding the challenges confronting Asian stereotypes in art, media, and popular culture. Students were also eager to discuss their own daily encounters with racial and cultural misrecognition. The most common scenario includes questions that are familiar to many Asian Americans. My version of this scenario goes like this. So, where are you from? California. Oh, I mean, where are your parents from? California. No, I mean, where are you really from? You know, your grandparents, your ancestors. At this point, one chooses either to respond with the truth, California, which may only be perceived as a further antagonism, or to offer up the desired response, Japan, which inevitably leads to discussions of yoga, feng shui, or favorite Chinese food restaurants. The irony of this scenario is usually lost on the inquiring party who assumes that there must be a culturally different place of origin that corresponds to one's visibly differentiated appearance. Visual stereotypes are difficult to challenge and overcome because they co-opt and subsume the form of the body. Skin, face, and body are overdetermined as visual signifiers of race and gender. Stereotypes are grafted onto bodies and naturalized as the body itself. I do believe that visual culture can provide a space for critical dialogue when we recognize that conversations across difference are always a matter of translation, negotiation, and representation. In this class, however, I also became aware of how the art school environment itself contributes to the difficulty of negotiating the specificities of Asian American identities through a form of what I call art school Orientalism. What does art school Orientalism look like? Similar to many art schools in America, CCA boasts of numerous course offerings in the arts of Asia, such as the Buddhist stupa, Asian thought and culture, mystics, meditation, mandalas, anime nation, as well as studio courses in Asian papermaking and the book, and my personal favorite, Buto drawing, which is advertised as where failure becomes success, drawing becomes performative architecture. I do not object to the existence of these classes, but rather some of the ways they are seen as expanding the food court logic of inclusionism in which Asian art offerings round out the menu of courses. Recent publications such as Smile of the Buddha and Buddha Mind in Contemporary Art explore how American and European artists and historians continue to be influenced by Asian worldviews and Buddhism. In Buddha Mind, one prominent humanities professor tells of her transition from teaching at a university, where she says students are logical, analytical, and critical, to teaching at an art school, where students are creative, spontaneous, and intuitive. Initially, she had difficulty adjusting to her new job, but through the Buddhist concept of the unknowing mind, she comes to understand the uniqueness of the art school environment. She writes, "Many artists seem to understand that the true mind is no mind. It is this state of unself-consciousness, it is in this state of unself-consciousness that creative people seem to be comfortable living in the space of non-space." She continues, "The goal of many artists, like the goal of the Zen student, is to contemplate true suchness, or things as they really are. By adopting a Buddha mind, this professor finds that, quote, most everything in the art-making environment felt new, surprising, and liberating. I wonder why this professor feels she needs to adopt a Buddha mind in order to enjoy teaching, appreciate creativity, or see the world through fresh eyes. Wouldn't the proper pharmaceuticals, any near-death experience, or perhaps a frontal lobotomy have a similar effect? My worry is the way that Asian worldviews are sought after as an enticing means of enhancing and transforming one's own aesthetic perspective by taking on a Buddha mind, geisha garb, or entering the Japanese wailing belly of the beast. Over the past few years in the San Francisco Bay Area, we have seen Geisha Beyond the Painted Smile at the Asian Art Museum with catalog essay by Arthur Golden, the remarkably sensitive white first-person writer of Memoirs of a Geisha, the book, heralded for his, quote, startling act of literary impersonation, a feat of cross-cultural masquerade. We've also seen Taisho Chic, Japanese Modernity, Nostalgia, and Deco at the Berkeley Art Museum, as well as, of course, the film Memoirs of a Geisha, a film featuring a stunning lineup of Chinese actors and inspiring the retail companies Banana Republic and Fresh to produce clothing and cosmetics with an Asian flair just in time for the holiday season. Ad copy reads, "Be a nice ninja this year. Give your geisha the Kyoto Empress gift set with rice face wash and geisha beauty palette." Indeed, there are so many ways of becoming geisha. Her persistent allure is her unique combination of propriety and impropriety. She is highly respectable, yet morally decadent, overly rehearsed, and yet mysterious, at once naughty and nice. The geisha is not like the Asian American women I grew up with. I come from a long line of improper Asian American women. My grandmother was born in California, endured the Japanese internment camps, and perhaps more arduously, a 50-year marriage to my patriarchal grandfather. Despite his oppressive manner, she was loudmouthed, competitive, and demanding. Plus, she made me wear matching muumuus every time I saw her, for which I will never forgive her. When my grandfather died, she had an affair with the gardener, 30 years her junior, and then was swindled by her ballroom dance instructor, who promised to give her erotic massages for life. In response, perhaps, my mother became a serious, successful, and somewhat humorless ultramarathon runner, and I, in my own less ambitious way, became a trash-talking, anti-exercise, and bourbon-drinking artist professor. With the exception of Margaret Cho, I don't see many images of these women in art, media, and popular culture. Against the sensuous, silky tide of gorgeous